Oh, hi! This week I'm going to show you how to turn this type of yarn situation into this type of yarn situation. Look at how ruffly it is. Obviously, color-wise, this will not turn into this. That's not how yarn works. Today's Labor Day, Monday. Fingers crossed I get this up today. And the Granite State Comic Con, which is like the biggest convention in New Hampshire as far as nerds go, is this coming weekend, September 12th and 13th, I believe. And today is the first day I've done any real work preparing for it. So I'm going to be living off coffee more than I already do. Here's what you need. I once again am using Hufflepuff colors for mine. The brand of yarn this is Red Heart, which seems to be kind of like the cheapest one, but this is like a weird type of yarn. It's called Sashay. So now, for once in my life, I've done a test run already, made sure I knew how to do it and that it wouldn't make me want to rip all of my hair out. And now I can show you how to properly go about this because I learned a couple things as I went. Other than the yarn, you will also need scissors. The only other thing you need is pretty much any kind of crochet hook, as long as the tip is not too big to fit through the holes you're going to be doing. So, but it literally doesn't matter what size you're working with. If you don't have a non-slip crochet hook, which I guess is the thing they make, I wrapped a shitload of hair elastics on the end here just to keep the stitches from slipping down, because the thing about crochet hooks is they're real smooth. Let's get fucking to it, shall we? The very first thing I did was put a knot in the end. One of the things I learned was it's easier if you kind of spread out and untwist little sections of the yarn before you try to knit them. Of course, the yarn skein itself is an absolute giant mess, and I will regret not rolling that up into a nice neat ball later. That's for future Joe to deal with. A lot of these yarns are going to have a very decorative edge over here with some like glittery thread or whatever happening, but there will be an obvious side that is like the fashion side of the yarn. You want to work on the opposite end. You can see there's like a nice small row of stitches right at the very top. So I'm going to fold this behind here just to try to hide the end a little bit. Take your crochet hook, slip it through. You know, you only need to skip a couple of stitches. I'm going to push this through and then find the loop that's closest to the knot over here. Now that you have both of those on there, we're going to get right into doing the actual stitches. Did I already fuck this up? I may have already fucked this up. Okay, fantastic. Nailed it. Alright, so to do the actual stitching, skip over this first gap and go to your second gap and pull that over. Then skip a gap, loop the second gap, skip a gap, loop a gap. Oh, loop a gap. That's a fun phrase to say. Skip and loop. You're gonna do this and collect however many stitches. I'm gonna do 10, honestly, just because it's easy for me to keep track of. So if I'm watching a TV show or something and lose count a little bit, it won't be so painstaking to go back and make sure I have the right number of stitches. So you're gonna pull that 10th stitch, that very top one you just had, pull it super tight. Then you're gonna attempt to pull all these other stitches over. Now you just have that one last stitch on there and you got your first ruffle going on over here. Killing it! So now you repeat that whole process until you get to the end of the yarn skein. Okay, you guys, it is forever later and I have all of this done. I only have enough yarn left here to maybe do 10 or 11 loops. So I'm not gonna stitch any more of this, but I'm going to take that last loop and I am going to pull the tail of this through this top loop. This is where everything can go wrong or you're done. And now pull the rest of this through here. Yeah! So now that last loop is around the tail here, and just do a knot real close to that last loop. Shit, yeah. And now, this is where you need the scissors and just trim off this little excess. And now you have a super long, ruffly scarf. Snip, snip, motherfuckers!